Hi, Mark. Thanks for taking the time to do this testimonial for us. It means a lot to us, especially since we're a small business. But before we get started, I wanted to learn a little bit about you. How did you get involved in Jimmy John's? How many locations do you have? How long have you been a customer of Vivant, etc.?
Uh, as of present, we have three Jimmy John stores. We used to have six, but we sold three of them just because they were too far out of our territory. We've been with Vivant for just under 4 years, and appreciate everything they've done for us.
Absolutely. So let's get into that stuff. What did life look like before you brought Vivant on board?
Well, it was a big hassle every time if the internet went out. We were dead in the water because all PDQ or wanted us to do was said they would get to it if they could, and we'd have to write down all the credit card information. It was just absolutely a mess.
What was the impact on business, revenues, sales, etc.?
Well, it was more of an issue of all the pressure it put on our employees and our general managers at the time. Because once something would happen, and if it stayed out for like an hour or so, then it really affected our business and affected all the customers that they're not going to give you their credit card numbers, and it just turned into a mess.
Got you. So a lot of negative impact on employee productivity, stress on employees that shouldn't have been there to begin with. Sounds like.
Absolutely.
When internet went down, what was that process like? What did you guys do? Just start writing card numbers down if the customer allowed it, but if they didn't, then what?
The employees did that. It was either that or get our cash at that point. But what we had to do with PDQ is they had a box that had a bunch of antennas on it, and we had to go back and hook that up. And then we had to call them, and they never knew what was going on. They absolutely, it never worked. It just never worked.
I
And
see. Yeah.
it was just until the internet came back on, the whole store was a mess.
And then obviously phones were down, internet was down, credit card processing, online orders,
Everything. Yeah.
everything was down. So it was either cash or close the door and go home for until the internet
Yeah, pretty
restores.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What made you change? Like, what was the trigger point that you're like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I gotta get somebody that's reliable. I've got to get somebody who knows what they're doing and the solution actually works.
At the first Inspire convention in Atlanta, uh, I ran into John, and he was telling me, what you guys do, what Vivant does, and what they can do for us, and convinced me to let you guys give you a try. And with what we were going through, anything could be better. And so we started the process of changing over to your company.
Exactly. And we typically ask for the worst location. So I'm sure that's probably what John said is give me your nightmare location, the one that you have all sorts of problem. Let us go through that. And if we can fix that, then everything else is pretty easy.
Absolutely. Yep.
Were you skeptical before signing? Obviously, you had bad experiences. Like other people had promised you, and they said, like plug this blue thing in with antennas, and it'll keep internet up and running. But as you said, it didn't work. So I'm curious if you were skeptical when we came out and we said, look, we know what we're doing. Like this is our bread and butter. We know this inside and out. Did any red flags go up that hey, this is just another provider? They're also just promising, but probably are not going to deliver because of the bad experiences in the past.
Well, I wouldn't say that I had any red flags. It was let's try this and see what happens. And what Vivint did for me was they took over the whole process. I didn't really have to do anything except unplug the other system that I had, and they took over the phone system. They took over the internet. They took over everything, and it absolutely started working perfectly. The first time the internet went off. They were on the phone telling us it did, and we never had not even a minute of interruption.
Exactly, and that's our promise. Obviously, we don't want you to feel that pain. We just want everything to seamlessly work. We don't want to add that additional stress to the employees, and it sounds like what we promised was exactly what we delivered based on even that first outage.
Absolutely. It was absolutely, you did everything you said you were going to do. And I appreciate it.
Amazing.
And I've
Oh,
never had a problem,
100%.
never had a problem since for 4 years.
Amazing. So in the last 4 years, obviously there has been internet outages, there has been things that has taken the systems down, but none of them have impacted your revenues, your sales, added any stress to employees, to your life, anything else.
Absolutely not. If the internet goes off, these times we don't even know it. You guys switch it over. You guys are on top of it. You switch it over, and nobody in the stores even knows it happens. It's perfect.
That's exactly what we want to deliver. All right, let's kind of go through the process of switchover. You kind of briefly touched base on that, but I'd like to shine a little bit more light on that. What did that transition look like from your previous company to us? How easy, how seamless was it to switch over?
Well, it was definitely seamless. You guys had to contact our internet provider, which is a local phone company here in town, and take over the lines, and and you even took over the payment to them. So I don't even have to pay them. I pay them through you, but you guys pay the bills. Uh, uh, came into the store and did everything you needed to do to set it up, and everything's been working perfectly ever since.
Let's talk about the changes that happened on a day-to-day operation. How is that success? How is that uptime guarantee impacting your employees, your operation, your sales? Can you give me a little bit more feedback regarding those?
Well, our employees have absolutely have no issues anymore with the internet, with the phone system. If there is a problem, you guys are on it immediately, and it's taken care of within minutes. Uh, so the biggest part is I'm not getting any phone calls going. The internet's down. What do we do? And they just don't even worry about it anymore.
How has that impacted their happiness or their retention? Are they staying longer? Did you have employees that just kind of throw in the towel and be like, "Look, I'm done with this. I can't handle this anymore."
Well, I think the employees that we have now don't even remember some of those issues. Our general managers, some of them have been here up to 10 years, some of them five. Uh, First assistants, uh, so some of them knew that those issues when they arose, but some of the newer ones, they've never gone through it because they don't have to.
Absolutely. In terms of, obviously, you mentioned some of the things that we do proactively where we catch up to those things before it even becomes a problem. Now you're not getting the phone call. So I guess there isn't much to say about that, which is great because
That's
nothing
how it's supposed
has
to be.
initial.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly how it's supposed to be. I was gonna say, were there any problems where like things went wrong and like systems didn't work? But tell me more. I guess there isn't, but like, can you shine some light on that?
The only issue we have now is if there's a complete power outage, and that has to be fixed. That has to be fixed by our local electrical company, and I know there's nothing you guys can do about that, but you do notify us immediately that the power's out before the electric company does. Uh, and I know there's nothing you can do about that. So, but as soon as it comes back on, we're back up and running.
I like to get a little bit more insight on previous to switching over. You had an internet company, you had a wireless backup internet source elsewhere, phones elsewhere, PCI compliance. I'm assuming that added a lot of complexity to your day to day life, and with people pointing fingers, POS saying it's the internet, internet saying it's the POS, etc. You've consolidated all of those services into one. I like to understand what that has that added any value and has that added any benefit to what we've done for you through consolidation.
Oh, definitely. And it's taken all the pressure off our management and all the pressure off the owners. Uh, when that happened, when whenever we had a problem with the phones and the internet, we would never get an answer. We didn't have the slightest idea how long it was going to take, where it was, how, what happened. They'd just say there's a problem and it's out. So that's when we had to bring out the paper credit card tabs and try to survive as best we could, if we could. And if it lasted too long, we had to close the store once or twice. So it doesn't happen anymore. It's such a relief to work with you guys.
Amazing. Yeah, that's again back to your point. That's exactly how it should be. But if you had to put a cost to those downtimes, like you closed the store down a couple of times, what was the business loss in those couple of situations?
Well, I'd probably be losing probably roughly $300 to $500 an hour for employees just standing around doing nothing, waiting for the internet to come back up and trying, and just being in a big hassle in the store and trying to take care of whatever customers would come by or not leave. Uh, it was just, it's, it was just a big relief to never have those issues. And for over 3 years now, I haven't had any, like zero. So all I can
Amazing.
say is, your company does what they say they're going to do, and it's
And
great.
actually, I spoke to another Jimmy John's owner, and he was mentioning that, listen, it's too good to be true, and you won't really know until you experience it. So I'm
Right.
curious if you echo the same feeling across your locations, or how does that compare to your experience?
It's Well, like I said, it's just a relief to know we won't have this issue. We just don't have it. And before, I'd try to call PDQ, like you said, and I'd try to call my internet provider and phone provider, and absolutely no information. Didn't have the slightest idea what was ever going to happen or how long it was going to take. So that's in the past.
Let's touch base on support side then. Have you had to personally call our support line or speak to any of our support staff, or is it all handled by management?
I probably called them once or twice, maybe. I In the last 4 years, I bet I've called them maybe 5 times, and it's a lot of times not for anything important. Sometimes, and they know exactly when I do call them. Exactly know the problem, and they've said they've switched it over. And like I said before, the only issue we ever have is if the complete power goes off. So if all the power goes off, we're just dead in the water, like anybody would know, with ovens and everything. So
And how was your experience by calling our support team? Did you feel like the team was knowledgeable, where they understood your problem, they solved it, they immediately got it resolved and got you off the phone back to your business?
yes, they were excellent. We were back up. They already knew they were back up before I called. So
That's
that's a relief.
amazing.
I think one time we had a problem with the phones, and I don't think it was either anything you guys could do. It was really the phone company, and I think Vivant, they called the phone company and got it straightened out, and we haven't had a problem with that either anymore. Some of the lines were
Perfect.
messed up.
Yeah, probably a wiring issue of some sort internally. Makes
Something.
sense. If a business owner was in the same situation that you were 4 years ago and they were dealing with all these problems of internet outages, obviously, restaurant business is particularly very difficult with all the rising costs, labor challenges, food cost increases, traffic being down. That puts a lot of pressure on you guys, and I can't even imagine what that looks like. But if somebody's going through that problem right now in the restaurant industry or any other business, what would you tell them regarding our products and services?
I would tell them that Vivant can take care of their problems, and they won't have that one issue off their plate that they don't have to worry about, which is one of the biggest ones, honestly.
What's the one thing that you wish you would have known sooner about Vivant?
Just that they existed. I mean, So 4 years ago, we've been in business for 14 years. So I put up with a lot of hassles for almost 10 years, and now I don't have those.
Definitely let's do a better job. We're trying to figure out how to grow awareness and let other people know that we do exist. That seems to be the common answer, is that people just didn't know that we exist. Otherwise they would have switched sooner.
Well, if you're talking to a Jimmy John's guy, uh, it'd be that, and you guys, and you, John actually told me this was going to happen. The PDQ is going to do everything negative, put everything that's negative about you guys, which is nothing. That you don't do what you say, and so that's not very good for this video. But it's the PDQ tries to talk everybody out of it, and they did to me too.
Yeah, 100%. And we ran across that where they, unfortunately, they use some bad practices and just say, look, they're promising, they're not delivering. But obviously your experience has been the complete opposite. We've
Absolutely.
overpromised, we've over delivered on that services. So we'll share that with the Jimmy John's guys just in case. And perhaps if they have any questions, we may even just route them to you if you're open to that.
Yeah, that's no problem. It's just, but John told me it was going to happen, and then I got a call almost immediately when I told him we were dropping them.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
they were.
that's
So anyway,
we
that's
yeah,
that.
we've done a lot of we obviously we've taken over a lot of accounts on that front, and with PDQ things have actually improved on their side because their support team and our support team, I've even been on support calls where I've helped them troubleshoot their stuff and be like, listen, it's your problem is here, go fix this, and then they were able to get it fixed, get them back up and running. But we believe we've added a ton of value to them, because ultimately at the end of the day, your business is not going down. You're not losing phone orders. You're not losing online orders, which means your life is better. Their life is better because they don't have to deal with the tech support behind the scene. And we're able to troubleshoot much faster and just get things resolved much quicker versus what they were doing previously. So to me, it's a triple win. You win, they win, we win, and everybody should be happy. But I'm curious on one more topic on cost. Would you have, I'm not sure whether we were able to save you money or not by transitioning over to us. Do you remember?
I can't give you an exact number really, but I know I saved money. I mean, the phone bill's the phone bill that you guys pay, and then it was all the other expenses. The PDQ were kind of hidden costs that I knew. I mean, John told me when we started what it was going to save me, and it definitely has saved me that. I agree. I mean, it was way less for PDQ than they were charging me, and the value in not having issues is huge.
So actually that brings me to another point. Let's assume that the costs were actually comparable, or if somebody's looking at our products and services and our cost is similar to what they're paying, or maybe it's 10 or 15% more per month. Would you recommend them to still switch over even though it may cost the same or 10 or 15% more?
I would definitely do that if they're having the issues that I was having. If it should be worth that much to any owner not to have internet, phone issues in their stores. I mean that value is tremendous.
100%. Yeah. If you don't have the right tools and you don't have the right infrastructure, then everything else becomes a problem. Mark, I appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time again. This means a lot to us, and we will share this feedback with the rest of the Jimmy John's team and then the rest of the prospects. And we appreciate you doing this.